And it is Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time here on the East Coast. And no matter where you are, if you're joining us live today for the broadcast or you join us on the replay, hey, we appreciate you being here. And hopefully, this will be another time to share with you some ideas and concepts that you can put to work in your business. Just like every week, the CVC Home Service Success Network is sponsored by CVC Success Group. And today it'll be myself and Cheryl Eisenhower will be on the broadcast today. And we're going to talk about something that basically Cheryl is one of the leading experts in the USA on this and has led a lot of people into the industry that we're talking about. You know, as we end up 2023 and we head into 2024, is there products or services that you may need to add to your offerings? 2024 is predicted to be a pretty rough year economically. I mean, all the indications are out there. It's a presidential election year that always bodes not the best economic conditions. There's a lot going on in this world right now. Interest rates, we've got wars, we've got other things going on, and maybe it's something that you want to look at. So, you know, here in December, as we're doing this broadcast, you may think, hey, what are you guys doing talking about outdoor living when the weather is atrocious here? We haven't got into the deepest winter yet. And I'm going to tell you why we want to talk about it now, because it takes a while to put the plans into place for a new product line, which is one of the places that we see people miss the ball game on this one because they start too late in the year and it takes some time to roll out a new product or a service. It's just like if somebody's going to bring a new product to market, they don't make a decision one day to go after it. They got to put their program together. They got to put a business plan together to make it happen and to be successful. So again, our subject today is outdoor living. Outdoor living. And like I said, Cheryl and I, we actually got in that market many years ago. I'm going to show you a couple things that I pulled up for this broadcast today. And this is a copy of a Hearth and Home magazine, Cheryl, from almost 20 years ago when we were featured in Hearth and Home magazine. And there was several times. There was another time we were featured in another edition of Hearth and Home magazines. And Cheryl, do you remember when they used to call us the professors of the patio at one time? Because what we were doing is we were taking people through and training them how to go into this industry. You see, we started in outdoor living from the retail and the installation aspect, but then we moved into a manufacturing entity that Cheryl owns today and operates by the name of IBD Outdoor Rooms. So she is pretty much an expert in this. She's taken hundreds and hundreds of businesses through the training, through how do you do this, and supplies numerous dealers around the United States with ready to finish cabinetry that is made for this. So, Cheryl, what would be the first thing that you would mention about outdoor living that people should be aware of if they're considering going into this market?
Okay, you froze for just a second, Jerry, and I missed a few words that you asked in that question.
Okay, what I was saying was, what would be your ideas? What would you share with somebody who is considering entering into the outdoor living arena and adding these types of products to their product offerings and their installation services?
Well, I think it's a good idea. What I would recommend is that they do some due diligence, see what's out there in the market. HPBA, our convention, is coming up shortly. There's going to be numerous products there. I would suggest they would do something like go there or either go visit another company that has an outdoor living area and have been working in the arena, because it's been a lucrative business for people that are out there, and that they keep multiplying. Some come in, some go out, but we've been, like you say, we've been doing this close to 30 years. So anybody that wants in it, we're here to help. But again, you need to do a little due diligence to see if this is another offering that you'd like it to make in your company, especially if you're a seasonal business and the spring, summer, and fall are not your seasons.
That's it. So when we talk about outdoor living, Cheryl, we're talking about a lot of products. The first one that comes to mind is outdoor kitchens, okay? And that was where we got into it. To be honest with you, we didn't even realize the potential in the product lines that we could get into. So, your company, IBD Outdoor Rooms, y'all make outdoor cabinetry. And when we talk about outdoor cabinetry, that means that you do the design work and build what we used to call the underwear, the framing, the concrete board, putting it on it, and you ship it out. So tell people how that process works, where you supply people with their outdoor living kitchen cabinetry. How does that work?
Well, like you said, first they give me an idea of what they're looking for. Then we can take it, design it with products of their choice. Once we get that done and they're comfortable with it, we proceed. And again, yes, we use 22 gauge. You get 22 G90 galvanized to make the frame out of. We bend our own metals. I prefer doing that over using building studs. These are then covered with hardy board and cut to the specs of the product that's going in them. And so when the people get it there, all they have to do is, and we put the electrical boxes in. We're not electricians. We do not wire, but we do set the boxes. All they have to do is run their water, the electricity, if that's what they need, and finish it, and they're done. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks out of the process while sitting on site.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of your system is it's lightweight, so it can be put on a raised deck, those type of things. There's not special footings required and all that type of stuff. Plus, you've built the ventilation into it, so there's not an accident from a gas leak. But in an outdoor kitchen today, what kind of appliance, what is put into that outdoor kitchen? What do people spec in the designs for an outdoor kitchen?
It's limitless. I mean, needless to say, you've got your grills, you've got all kinds of grills, charcoal. People are using the electric grills now. Sinks, cabinets, drawers, Kamados being like green eggs or Kamado Joe. Pizza ovens. Actually had one yesterday asked if they could put an interior oven in a covered outside kitchen. So people are putting everything, dishwashers, anywhere from dishwashers, anything you'd have in your kitchen, you can have outside now. Air
Yeah.
conditioned heaters.
And what you just said is they actually make warming drawers for outdoor kitchens that actually you can keep foods warm in. And there's another use here, which is if you were cooking a big meal in your house, you can add the outdoor cooking capacity. I think one of the things that really blew my mind when we were in the retail business was the way that we were selling refrigerators and ice makers for outdoors. And what was even more impressive was that there were certain refrigerators that were actually listed for outdoor use. And what that meant was it's going to have a heater into it. So when the temperature drops below freezing outside, the heater comes on and doesn't allow the beverages in that refrigerator to drop below freezing. So when you look at it, paper towel holders, I remember they used to be in there, trash can holders. It was really unreal, the appliances that people would put into those islands. And also, we have people that would actually put fire pits right into the island in the center of the dining area. So, when you're designing a outdoor kitchen for someone, an outdoor kitchen island, what's some of the considerations that you're running through your mind in order to deliver them not only what the customer wants, but something that's going to meet local codes and standards so there's not an issue in the field?
Well, as you know, I'm a safety freak. We want the ventilation in it. The thing about it, if I haven't been to the location, I like to see a picture of the area because I never know if there's an electrical wire running across above it, if there's a tree that can catch fire, if you're near a child's play area, just things like that. I need to kind of know what the surrounding area is, so I make sure that there's nothing that will impede. Plus, if you're using your grills, or especially if you're using a smoker, I I have to take the prevailing winds. How does the wind come around your house? Are you trying to put it under a window where the smoke could come into the house, where it would be caustic? So there's a lot of things to take in consideration. Can you get water there? Can you get gas there? Are you on a slab? Are you going to have to cut the slab? Are you free? Are you freewheeling and have all the room in the world? But people don't take the time to do this. It tends to be an I want process. And you don't realize that you can't put 10 foot of product in 10 foot of island. So we just have to take them through the process and show them what they can have. And if that's more, do they have room to put more stuff in there? So it's not a quick sale. I don't want to tell anyone that. It's actually work involved in just figuring out the placement. Is it worked where it's a good layout? Are you laying it out where you could have something burn a child? You don't want grills like on the end where a child will have to reach up across them. So there's just a lot of thinking that goes into it, that when you're the homeowner and you're wanting this island, you're thinking of, I want this, 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 and this. I need to know how to put all those in there safely.
Yeah. Now, Cheryl, some of the things we do is you actually have a Facebook page that you monitor for outdoor kitchens and outdoor living. What's the name of that Facebook page?
Outdoor kitchen and living areas.
Okay. So, what you can do on there, and you've got, I think, how many people do you have on that Facebook page at this point?
The last time I looked, it was right at 38,000.
Okay, so you've got 38,000 people, and people are all the time posting photos. We don't do it as a marketing thing for IBD necessarily, but this is more where people can share ideas and ask questions. But there's two things that we see a lot of times that consumers do that are dangerous, and that is building a cabinet out of wood or a lack of ventilation. So, what's the problem with building it out of treated lumber, Cheryl?
Well, treated lumber is better than regular lumber. But wood, after it dries and gets wet and dries and gets wet, and remember you're outside, the ignition point gets really low. And a lot of times, just a spark from the grill or from your tank can just literally cause it to fire up. And we see them burn a lot of times.
Yeah, and they do make what they call a insulated shell for grills that can be dropped into that can lower that heat transfer factor down, which a lot of people don't know that. But like I said, we have seen outdoor kitchens that have actually blown up and taken backs of houses off. And a lot of times this is traced to a lack of ventilation. Okay, so you explain why we need ventilation in an outdoor kitchen, and how does this work? What do I mean by outdoor, by ventilation on an outdoor kitchen?
Okay, it's not written in stone, but our general thought is we want vents at least every 6 foot. I want a high vent and a low vent. I want on the end if I can't get them on the back. The reason for this is you need cross ventilation. Number one, to let, if a gas is leaking, if it'll let it out so it doesn't build up inside the grill. And also just for ventilating the dampness, because you are outside and outdoor islands are not totally watertight. So water can get in. And if it does, it can go stale. So you want it out. And if you've got, depending on whether you have natural or you have propane, depends a lot. You've got to have them both vents because you want that air continually moving. You want it crisscrossing. And we have people a lot of times say, well, I'll just open the doors. No, you won't. So we put them on every island we go out. We do take photographs of every island that's done. We take a lot of photographs, but we take the last one where the vents are on it because we want to show that those vents were in place or at least specifying for a place before it leaves our factory.
Gotcha. So this is a give where air can move through. It's so moisture can leave. So we're not going to have odors from that kind of stuff in there. And it's also for gas dispersal. So the cabinet is ventilated and we don't have gas buildup. Because you got to remember, if you had a gas leak in there and that cabinet filled up with gas and you hit the striker, it's going to go boom big time. We've seen grills that have been blown completely out of these islands. We've seen the back of houses taken off. So it is a big issue. Now, what about fire pits? Do we need the ventilation on a fire pit, Cheryl?
Before we leave there, let me add one thing back in reference to something you said a little earlier. You were talking about insulation sleeves and being able to use wood. Insulation sleeves stop the heat transfer, but if there's a spark from the gas tank under the grill, that insulation sleeve won't help. So that's where you need the ventilation. You've got to get that gas out because the sleeve does not do anything to prevent the gas flow.
Got you covered.
Now
So
back
back to fire pits. Okay. So is the same consideration for a fire pit?
same thing for a fire pit. If you don't put ventilation in, you're building a basic airtight body. And as gas builds up in there, gas expands, it explodes, and if with any kind of spark. And when it explodes, basically your burner's coming out first. It's literally coming out.
Got
So the ventilation, and we put the vents on to compare to the size. How many cubic feet of air do we need moving?
Yeah. Another item that's commonly added to an outdoor kitchen is what's called a power burner. And a power burner is a great big burner that's made for like lobster pots, low country bowls, and it was actually invented for Oriental cooking. It's a wok holder. So is power burner something that you put in a lot of your islands?
We probably put them at 75% of our islands now. Used to, people would build them separate. Now they're building them right into their islands, and some build them up level on the top, which is usually 36 inches for us. Some drop them 5 inches. We have one dealer that everyone we put in for him, which is basically at almost every one of his islands, we drop 12 inches. So you can literally see down into the pot. So they're a huge addition to the islands.
Well, that's one of the things that we cook at our house is we cook a lot of low country bowls in the summertime. We got the grandkids over. And if you're from the South, you know what a low country bowl is. And if you're not from the South, you need to learn because it's really, really a neat thing to cook in when you got your family over. And when we got all our grandkids over, everybody likes those low country bowls when you're in the South. Okay, so let's go to another subject matter here. What about a roof over these islands? I mean, a lot of times people want to put these and they want to put a gazebo type or they want to put a pergola over it or some type of roof structure. In fact, we have a pergola above our outdoor kitchen. So what's the consideration whenever you have a cooking device underneath a structure? What's got to be done?
You still got to have ventilation. I hear people wanting to wrap it in the plastic curtains and all. You still need that ventilation, or either you need hoods. Most states now mandate covers over anything over a heating unit, over with anything over a roof system over it. But it's just, you've got to look at it when there's a roof over it. You're basically like you're in the house. You have something you can catch on fire up above you. And that's usually where the fire goes. It goes straight up. So you need the insulation. And yes, we have a pergola, but we almost turned it into a pavilion because we put a roof system across.
Yeah, we decided that we needed more than just the pergola. So yes, we have a roof structure over ours. So we have shade and we also have protection from bad weather. In fact, Cheryl, I started to do this broadcast from the backyard out there in our outdoor kitchen, but it's kind of chilly here today to do this. So we didn't do that. Sorry, folks. Okay. So anyway, we keep going through this. And as we go through this, and there's another item that's added a lot of times. You mentioned earlier which is a pizza oven or what should be called a wood-fired oven. So is this a popular option around the country for outdoor living areas?
It is, especially up north. A lot of people are using what we call a real wood-fired oven. It's literally only fired by wood. It's usually a lot larger. You can cook in it. The thing about it, it is an oven. You can cook anything in it that you can actually cook in your oven in the house. We used to do pizzas for dinner of a night when we taught classes, and then did roasts in them the next day, and it was still hot. You literally can close it up and it will retain the heat. But even farther, a lot of companies now have gone to making what I would just call a pizza oven, because they are gas fired and they're small. They're set down into a caveat. They're usually about 27 inches wide, and they literally just set down about 5 inches into your outdoor kitchen. So there's all different kinds, anything from small to huge.
Got it. What about outdoor heaters? Do people put outdoor heaters in?
We're always seeing outdoor heaters go in. The beginning was the tall heater with the little canopy on the top with the tank in the bottom, but now they're using ceiling heaters, they're using wall heaters, especially if they're going to confine this in more of a closed-in area, because basically if you're using those, you can do that. If you're using the gas that's in the circular tall thing, you really just need to do it outside without a cover.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're doing an outdoor heater, it needs to be a radiant heater. You can find heaters that will work that heat convectively, which means they're heating air, or you have radiant heaters where the heat can travel through the air and warm your body. So when you're talking about outdoors and heating outdoors, one thing is a lot of people think a fire pit or a fireplace, those are really not going to heat large areas because heat's going to instantly go up. So we found that the best way to heat an outdoor area in cold weather is going to be to have a radiant heater that can be either gas or it can be electric. In fact, we did a seminar a couple of years ago during COVID, and we actually had a guy on that we interviewed about that. And that's one of the things, if you're listening to this, if you are a subscriber to our online learning platform, we actually have classes on there about outdoor living that can help you. You also can contact Cheryl. You see your email address on the screen, and you also see the website for IBD Outdoor Rooms right now. Go check out what they can do for you, because it can be a monumental thing. Okay, Cheryl, here's a crazy one. Do people put air conditioners outside?
We did. So not just crazy people, but yeah, you've got air conditioners again, like heaters, unless you're going to have them in a confined area. You need to, like I tell people when they want to know how much their fireplace or fire pit will heat an area, I said it just depends how close you're sitting. Same way with air conditioners, however far the air's blown. But if you've got a top or a roof or anything, a pergola doesn't work, but anything with a rooftop over it, you get a much nicer area.
Okay. So folks, that's outdoor living. And if if you're looking for a product to offer in 2024 that could balance out, if your slow season is spring and summer, this could be an answer to bring a lot of work into you. You're going to have to learn to promote this. You got to get the word out to your existing customers and to your community. So Cheryl, if people reach out to you at the email address I've got posted right now, can you offer them help in how to get into this industry?
I can do that. I can also offer them a class if they like, whether it be one or like we used to do 100, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we're here to help. That's what I'm here for. We're not physically building and finishing. We're not finishing products anymore. So I want to help people get off the ground in this business. And I think it's a lucrative business. It's a lot of people have gotten in it, but without the knowledge, they don't stay in it. So that's the main thing. It's all about the knowledge and how you can CYA, as we always try to do when we're designing them, and then just in how to do it. But I'm always here. All it takes is an email, and I'll get right back in touch with you.
And that takes me back. You and I were having a conversation with a young man just a couple weeks ago, and he totally shocked me when he came to this meeting, Cheryl, because he had researched the outdoor living market, and he had researched, about how it could grow, and and he is entering this industry. But he did it after. Would you say he had done his research when he sat down at that table talking to us that evening?
And he did. And the thing about it, that research is out there for everybody. If you want to look for it, he's looking at it to grow, maybe not so much in 24, but more in 25. But the thing is, if you wait till 25 to start it, it'll be 26 before you can do anything with it.
That's it. So, folks, right now's the time. If this is an interest, before it gets springtime, you got to be putting your plan together. And Cheryl, you've had people that have traveled here to spend time with you. Are you still open to that?
I am. Just get in contact with me. If you're in a position you can't travel, we'll do the best we can do one way or the other. But if you can come where you can actually see and touch it, I think it'll make a whole new difference in what you're looking for and what you can learn in a short period of time.
Yeah. So when I say you have the ability to reach out to the queen of outdoor living, she's on this screen with me right now, folks. So all you got to do, send her an email. Say, Cheryl, I want to talk to you about this outdoor living lifestyle, this outdoor living product lines. Send her an email. She loves to talk to people. She'll be right there with you. She has a lot more patience than most people do. She will help you get started. So, Cheryl, anything you want to add before we end today's broadcast?
I just want to say the last couple of weeks has made me realize that if there's something you really want to do, you need to do it. And if this is anything like you think you might want to get into, it's still an extremely viable market.
Yeah, that's it. So we want to thank you for joining us today. If you're joining us live, thanks for being here. We appreciate the likes on this. If you're listening to us on the replay, hey, we enjoy you being here. So reach out to Cheryl at cheryl@ibdodr.com. And all you got to do is say, Cheryl, I want to learn more about this outdoor living industry and how we can get into it. And I'll guarantee you, she'll be right in touch with you. So appreciate you joining this week on the CVC Home Service Success Network. It's sponsored by CVC Success Group, and we appreciate you being here as always. And with that, we'll see you next Friday on our next episode of our weekly broadcast, the CVC Home Service Success Network. Appreciate you.